أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sparing our lives to see another day. We thank Him for making us see the seventh day of Ramadan. We ask Allah to make it easy for us to complete today's fast and many more fasts on heart, inshallah. For all the fasts we complete, we ask Allah for accept it. Because doing it is actually very different from acceptance. It is for us to do, it is Allah's to accept. So we ask Allah to accept all our efforts, all our qiyam, all our siyam, our ruku, our sujud, all our sadaqat. We ask Allah to accept it from us as an act of worship. Ameen. So yesterday we started the discussions of verse 8 of Suratul Ankabut. We spoke about what is expected of us to our parents, particularly, more specifically, if they urge us or force us to take partners with Allah or to commit sins. If they urge us, if they make efforts to ensure we commit shirk or we commit other sins, so what should be our reaction? So summarily, yesterday we showed that it is compulsory on us to be good to our parents in words, in terms of character, and also by spending on them. So we say good words to them always, irrespective of what they bring. We ensure that what comes from us to them is what is good words. In terms of our behavior, our character, our muamalat, our interactions with them, we must ensure that we do it utmost respect as expected of us from the Quran and the Sunnah. And bil also with our wealth, we also ensure that we spend on our parents whatever Allah has given us of wealth. Another point that was made was that, the verse we recited for us yesterday, or we explained for us yesterday, reaffirms the rahmah Allah has, Allah's mercy on us by by mandating us to be kind and good to our parents, irrespective of whatever it is they push at us. So this is one of Allah's mercy. We came in through them, and Allah honors that. Just because we came into this world to our parents, Allah gives them a high place. After Allah, it is our parents. Even above our teachers, above our scholars, our parents are next. Many people today do not respect their parents, but they respect other people outside. So this should not be so. We told us the story of Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas. Despite the efforts of the mother to derail him, to bring him to his former religion, and the threat of starving, in return, the words of Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas appears to be too harsh, and Allah corrected him. He was doing this on the part of Allah to reinforce the deen of Islam, but Allah still corrected him, despite his status in the deen as one of those promised Jannah and one of the as-sabiqun al-awwalin. So, all these points, are also another point from let's test this lesson. And also, the third point is that anna liwalidain haqqan wa in kana kafirin. That our parents have rights on us, even if they are kufar. Definitely they have rights upon us, even if they are kufar. So we must feed them if we have the means. Even if we don't have the means, we must strive to ensure that they are comfortable. We must say good words to them. If they call us to do something which Allah has forbidden, we must reject whatever they are bringing with the best of words. It is not allowed for us to do oof to our parents. You understand? To hiss at them. When you say oof, it's more or less like hissing, it's more or less like, making very little sounds. Talk less of now voicing it out, showing them pushing them around, starving them, and the likes like that. So Allah warns us seriously about this. And another point is that wujubu ta'atihima bi ghairi ma'siyah. That it is also compulsory on us to follow them, to follow their instruction if they have not instructed us to what to do, to sin. So it is very important that we follow them. Yesterday, we tried to explain this aspect, and you can watch the clip of yesterday on the different manifestation of this. So there are things that are not sin. For instance, what do you do if your father tells you to divorce your wife? We have explained it yesterday, and I want you to go and watch yesterday. We'll go back to that, inshallah. If your father, for instance, says, this person, I don't want you to work with him again, what do you do? If your father says, for instance, this man is my enemy, I don't want you with him. All these questions, all these answers are in yesterday's clips. So you can go to yesterday's clip and watch for yourself and see the answers. Read the scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah, Imam Ahmad bin Ambal have responded to some of these queries on what do we do when what our parents have commanded us to do are not sins. You understand? On the face of it. Another lesson from that verse is that the rights of Allah is far above every other person's rights. The rights of Allah come above every other person's right. And this also includes the right of the Rasul, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So every other right are subservient to these rights. So if Allah says something and your parents say another thing, it is a must for you not to obey them. But in doing this, you must do it with every tact. You must do it with respect. You must do it as much as possible not to show as if you are spiting them. You must keep praying for them. You must keep encouraging them to be on track and to be on the path. Be like the Sahabas who encouraged, who prayed, who did everything within their capacity to ensure that their parents are on the right track. So that's another. So the rights of Allah are far above every other person's right. The seventh lessons from yesterday's verses: أن الإشراك بالله لا يمكن أن يقوم عليه الدليل والأدلة كلها على خلاف. The verse we cited yesterday, it says that you should not, when they call you to shirk for what you do not have knowledge of. So we have explained yesterday that every act of shirk is something that Muslims do not have knowledge of, because it is not part of our fitrah. Allah created us to worship Him, and everything that is not legislated in the deen as an act of worship can never be act of worship. If it's not legislated in the Quran, in the Sunnah of the Rasul, it can never be an act of worship. Every other thing is what is batil. So, and the last one from yesterday's verse is that, the second to the last, the penultimate lesson from yesterday is that أَنَّ الْإِنسَانَ مُجَازِيًا بِعَمَلِهِ بِقَوْلِهِ فَوْنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Every one of us will be rewarded with our actions. Our actions, none of our actions will go in vain. You either get a reward or what, you get a punishment for actions. At least for most of our actions. There are some actions that are within, they are just neither here nor there. But for most of the actions, either you get reward for it, or you get punished for disobeying Allah, but punished for not doing them. So we must take this. Allah will definitely, none of the things that we do will be left unmentioned. Or, on the day of Qiyamah, people will say, مَا لِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ لَا يُغَدِّرْ صَغِيرَةً وَلَا كَبِيرَةً إِلَّا أَحْصَاهَا. What kind of book is this? It didn't even leave the small details. And the big detail, everything we have seen. So that is why we need to be careful of the acts we do. And we must do a lot of good deeds. We must do a lot of good deeds. We must, amalu salih. We must do a lot of good deeds, because this will serve as expiation for us, as you have mentioned in the previous verse that you had mentioned, and the next verse that we are also going to be talking today. And also, this verse also establishes the knowledge of Allah on everything we do. That Allah will show you. Allah will give you the report of what you have done. And Allah will reward you for everything you have done. So all this are affirming, you understand, the knowledge of Allah. Allah knows. And there is nothing that goes unattended to by the perfect scribes of Allah. Those who take down our actions. None of it is allowed of us. Allah says in the next verse of the surah, Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لَا نُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. Allah says, those who have Iman, we have explained Iman. Iman is clothed with two things, al-ikhlas and mutabba. You cannot have Iman. Your Iman must be prescribed. You must have Iman sincerely to Allah. And your Iman must also follow the dictates of the Rasul. And we had mentioned that yesterday that Iman is both intentions, both what you have within you, your ideological stance, and also what? Your actions. Al-amal bil jawari. And also the actions you do with your limbs. So Iman is not just about what you have within you, about your aqidah, about your qasa'id. It's not just about that. It's beyond that. Also your actions also fall within Iman, even though this verse separates them. But Iman, your amalu salihah is also part of the Iman. We explained yesterday that the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that Iman is divided into 60 or 70 parts. And he mentioned that al-imatatul adha, and tariq, that removing harmful objects from the way is also part of Iman. It is part of Iman, which shows that the actions we do with our limbs is also part of Iman. The actions of our limbs is also part of Iman. So Allah says, Inna walladina amanu, those who believe, wa amilu solihat, and what? And do good action. Nudkhilannahum fi solihin. We are going to join them. We are going to join them with the solihin. We'll fix them in the same place with the solihin. We'll add them to where the solihin have been. So when Allah speaks, from this verse, when we recited or when we explained the previous verse from verse 1 to verse 6, Allah says in verse 7, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَا نُكَفِّرَنَّ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ وَلَا نَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَحْسَنَ الَّذِي كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Now, for those who follow all these instructions that we have laid there, from the fact that you should be, if you are a mu'min, you should be a mu'min true and true, through thick and pain. When you have, you have Iman. When you don't have, you keep having Iman. When Allah tests you, you submit to Him. When you also have, when the test is a positive test, like when you are giving, you also maintain your Iman. If you have done this, and you are not part of the munafiqun, who came in when they are tested, and you are not part of those who think that Allah would not call them to account, you are not part of all these people. Allah now affirms in this verse, the verse 7, that what? For those people, we are going to overlook their shortcomings. We are going to cover their faults. We are going to forgive them, and we are going to give them bountiful rewards. Allah used this to us to say, for those of you that follow this verse 1 to verse 6, this is what we are going to do for you. And generally too, for those who have Iman and do good action. In this next verse, after Allah had mentioned to us that about our parents, Allah now follows with a similar verse. After Allah has warned us about our parents, after Allah has equally warned our parents too about us, because it's the two ways. And also Allah has warned us about our children. And Allah has also warned our children about us. It's a two-way thing. You obey your parents, but any of your parents that cause you to do something contrary to the teachings of Islam, through shirk or other sinful acts, you do not follow them. But Allah says, be good to them always. So of course, this is also an indirect action or indirect warning to the parents that you must always be above board. Everybody must conform. Everybody is under the laws and rulings of Allah. So whoever among the parents yields, just like the mother of Saad eventually yielded, despite the blackmail. Many parents will blackmail their children. Well, in one of the reports, the mother of Saad came to him and said, has your Lord not tell you to obey your parents? So if your Lord has told you to obey your parents, I'm not commanding you to what? To follow me, to go back to the religion of your father. It is a blackmail. Many parents also do that today. And you should not make any of the children bulge. When your parents command you to do other than what Allah has commanded, that is a red flag. You do not go near it. You do not do it. But you must treat them, you must continue treating them with respect. But you must be firm on your stance. You stand with Allah and Allah alone. You follow the commands of Allah and the commands of Allah alone. So Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي صَالِحِينَ. What does one of the Quran, one of the Quran now fi Salihin? What does it mean? What does it mean? So who are the Salihun? Who are those who follow the teachings of Allah, who follow the directions of Allah, who have Iman true and true, with all its branches and with all its sub branches, and who also do good acts. See, it is not enough to say, I'm a mu'min, I pray, I believe, I follow the sunnah, if we don't have good character. When we say, wa amilu saliyat, it's everything you can think of, from your act of worship to your character, to your relationship with people, your lack of envy, and every other thing you may think of generally. Everything comes within wa amilu saliyat. And it is people like this that Allah will put in Jannah. Who are the Salihun? The Salihun primarily are what are the Anbiya. Because they are the ones what above board. They are the ones above board. There is a bit of what's it called? A bit of dispute in one of the tafsir. It says that as-Salihun means al-Anbiya wal-Awliya bi-an nahshurahum ma'ahum. That is the word the Anbiya and the Awliya. That Allah should raise them, Allah should join them together in Jannah. Allah should gather them together in Jannah. And some people said, let's leave it at the Anbiya. That for the Salihun, for the Awliya, there are some issues around it. And that is not far-fetched. And that is because of the way the ascription people give to the Awliya at this time that we live in. So a lot of people have a lot of misconception about who the Awliya was. So let's go through what the Mufassirun here said. They said in this there are some issues. Because الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ هُمُ الْأَوْلِيَاءِ. Those who have Iman and do good action are actually the Awliya themselves. So will Allah be saying Allah will join the Salihun with the Awliya with the Awliya? It must be something superior, something special, in the words of this person. قال الله تعالى الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور. الله ولي الذين آمنوا. The Allah is the friend for those who believe. Do you understand? And those who believe too are also the friends of Allah. They are the Awliya of Allah. Generally, Awliya is whoever believes. وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. Those who have taqwa, and believes. In another verse, Allah said, Allah inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yazanun. That definitely the friends of Allah, there will be no fear for them on that day. Wa lahum yazanun, and there will be no sad. Who are they? Alladhina amanu wa kanu yattaqun. Those who believe and fear Allah. They believe. We have said that believe also includes what? Good actions. So believe also includes taqwa. Everything is together. You understand? So they are the ones who believe. So awliya the word awliya is expansive. But of course, they are darajat. You understand? In the awliya, the nearness. Generally speaking, every mu'minun is an awliya. But in this also, there are classes. You can't compare the one who wakes up every midnight, who fasts, who does a lot of sadaqah, plus the one who doesn't wake up all the time. Or who rarely wakes up, who rarely do the tatawuhat, who grudgingly goes to pray. There are levels to it, as explained in some hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In another verse, Allah says, "Innama waliyukumullahu wa rasuluhu walladhina amanu." So, but in this verse, this person, one of the Mufassir said, "Kulna al-anbiya." We say al-anbiya li'anna martabatul anbiya a'la min al-awliya. Because the place of the anbiya is what is above, far above that of the awliya. So in this verse, Allah said, He's going to join them with what? With the Salihun. We ask Allah to make us among amongst those that would be counted among the Salihun on the day of Qiyamah. We ask Allah to put us in the best of Jannah, Al-Jannah Firdaus. Don't ask for something less. There used to be somebody, is one of the popular Yoruba preachers, and he will say, Ya Allah, even if it is kitchen of Al-Jannah, put me. Even if it is toilet of Al-Jannah, put me. This is not the words of anybody who understands the Sharia, who understands the Sunnah of the Rasul. The Sunnah of the Rasul is to ask for the best. and the best of Jannah is Firdaus. We also ask Allah to make it easy for us to tread that path of the best. So in this verse, what we have seen, what we have learned is that we have seen the place of Iman and place of good action. We must begin to strive. Ramadan is still in its first half. What are we doing? What are we doing to make our Ramadan better? What are we doing to get all the rewards in Ramadan? How many Qurans have we read? How many good actions are we doing? How many good actions are we doing? A lot of people are trying to do the best. I have a friend. He says that during Ramadan, he emptied his account. Of course, I know that some of us don't even have anything in our account to empty. But let's keep asking. There are a lot of good deeds we can do. There are lectures that have been done that we can share. You don't know who is going to see it, that you can send to your friend, that is going to see, and through that, Allah may reform the person. Allah may reform. Some of the Sahabas, what they heard, some of the Tabi'un, what they heard was just a recitation of the Holy Quran. And through that, they became Muslims. Umar, for instance, Sufyan al-Thawri, for instance, what they heard was just verse. Imagine the person who read this verse today, and imagine the impact these people have come to do in Islam. So you don't know, don't belittle any kind of action. Don't belittle any kind of action. Just yesterday, I did a post about, what was it called? About the kind of things people do that may appear little, but it's very profound. I mentioned the issue of calling Salat, calling people to Salat, that saying it's time for Salat. On social media, it's time for Salat. Actually, have you prayed? Salat alert. And telling them about the morning askar, the evening askar, telling them about the psalm of Monday and Thursday, and the likes like that. I prayed for those who do those acts and pray for them so that Allah should prevent them from the spoilers of this action. And I mentioned in passing about an act that I think that people should do, which is buying books for others. You understand, buying books for students of knowledge. Because just in the past 1 week, I have been tremendously blessed. I've gotten books worth up to about 400,000 from very good brothers, just to support the Dawah effort. And this I commended. So it made me think that if people can also do this, students of knowledge. So I thought for a second that some of our scholars that Allah has really established, they have a lot of followers, and they have had a lot of impact on people's life. Imagine if you were the one that bought the book that they use for their al-Quds. If you were the one that bought that book, that Adabul Mufrad is a class of our Sheikh Abu Nasser every Saturday and Sundays. And they have been doing it for about 3-4 years now without fail. Almost on every Sundays and Saturdays. And thousands of people listen to this. Imagine you are the one that bought that about Adabul Mufrad. You understand? So I made that to and I said I encourage. And one of our brothers just went online, did a post, and people started commenting for the books they need. And they started fulfilling some of the needs they were able to fulfill, and were still promising others who were doing this. All these are actions. What are you also doing? What are you listening to that you are making work immediately, that you are working on immediately? You are not changing it to tomorrow. What is it that you are listening to? And that is what the Sahabas do. Immediately they listen, immediately they hear, they don't second-guess, because tomorrow is not assured. Tomorrow is not assured. Either asbata, fala tantazir masaa. When you see the morning, don't always think you will see the evening. Wa iza amsayta fala tantazir sabaa. And if you see the evening, don't always think you will see the morning. My point is, do good today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because you may not see tomorrow. Or an illness may come even if you see many years. I'm not praying for any of us. It's not a director. It's just a generator, because that is the sunnah of Allah. People will always fall sick, and people will always die. One day we will die. And only Allah knows how we are going to die. Don't delay a good action. Don't delay a good action to tomorrow, because you do not know. So your iman, if your iman is shaking, if you are one of those that does incision, bere, or you bath soap, you understand, you get to some baba and they give you some black soap or whatever soap for you to bath, for you to curry some favors from people, to get good and also send away bad. Do you understand? And also push away, bad things. You need to have a rethink, because what you are doing is kufu. If you die upon it, then your jannah is shaking. If there's anything you do, if it is also about the music you listen to, or the films you watch, or the kind of words that come from your mouth, or the treatment of your wife, or your husband, or your children, or disobedience to your parents, change today. That is the essence. If there is anything you're going to pick from today's tafsir, it is that don't live for tomorrow what you can do today. Don't live for tomorrow what you can do today, because tomorrow is not assured. If you have money and you have been keeping them, you understand, start spending them today. This is the month that you should spend. The only Prophet Muhammad in the month of Ramadan is the most generous. And the Salihun, who also want to be with the Salihun, are also most generous in the holy month of Ramadan. This is also the month of the Quran. They read the most of the Quran in this month. You understand? They do many good actions in this month. We ask Allah to count us amongst the people of Iman. You know, so Iman alone, just having belief alone, another lesson from today is that just having the belief is not enough. You must combine beliefs with good action. And I've also said belief in itself also includes good action. So don't just say I have Iman alone. Follow it with kind action. If they ask people about you today, what are they going to say about you? You may want to test people around you. I'm not asking you to do so. But if you test it, you will know what you really want. Today, even on social media, some people are known for something on social media. And when they die, you can imagine what people are going to say about them when they die. What is it? What are you also known for? What are you known for? What is your signature? Some of us are not social media people. In your private life, what are you known for? Begin to think of it. Begin to think of it. Because what people say about you when you die equally matters. Begin to think of it. Begin to look at your CV and start reviewing your CV. What is your life like? What do people know you about? What do you want people to know you about? Do it. Do good in the open and do it in the secret. Both is allowed. But ask Allah to save you from riyah. Save you from showing off. Save you from showing off and wanting to be praised. That is why you should do more secret action. Many, many secret action. Do more of secret actions. But if you do open action, it's also not against the standard of the deen. Allah says, now, okay, I think that is where, so today, because I have a program now, inshallah, so we'll stop here today. Bismillah ta'ala. May Allah make what you have said beneficial than it was presented, and spare our lives to the end of Ramadan and beyond, and may never deny us the rewards of saying his words and also listening to it. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.